Then I look at our leaders who, when they are seeking to serve us, when they are seeking our support, they are humility personified. They kiss babies. They go to the shebeen. They drink from dirty cups. They walk on foot. They smile with us. They take photos with everybody. They discard their security. They are humility personified. They speak the language that we want to hear. They do the things that they think we want to see them do. They delude us. They cheat us. And somehow we accept that they are leaders. But immediately they get what they want. Oh, they have a reverse Pauline conversion. If they were Paul, they go back to being Sauls. And we can no longer recognize them. When you ring them, their phones are picked by somebody called a PA, whose only claim to fame that he is rude beyond measure. When you go to the offices, they no longer want to see you. When they are driving in the streets, their sirens scare you. While I suspect that those who discovered the siren meant that it should be used for good purposes, for them it is a badge of honor, and they harass us in the streets. They acquire things which they have not worked for. They promise us things that they know they will never deliver. They want to be described as honorable even when they are horrible. These are the men that we have.
Good night and welcome to the People's Point of View. Those are the politicians that we have. And those are the politicians that we're going to discuss this evening. Sorry for my lateness, Sorry for my lateness, but yes, Beta and Teach, I hope Andrew are listening because I'm going to play it back again. Everything Professor PLO Lumumba says is a reflection of Black politicians across Africa and the Caribbean, but more so, we want them because we know them way too good. So every time they make these blunder, we will be the first to identify because we know every trick and trade them pull out of the matches box. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Good evening to those on the X, the Twitch, YouTube, on Facebook. Good evening to my community and my family members. Good evening to all my subscribers, membership, and platform holders. Good evening and welcome. Simone Beckford, good evening. David Jervis, good evening. Thank you for joining us. All in Forest, good evening. Good evening and welcome. Beat and Teach, Wagwan. Sunshine, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Denise Hall. Natalia Freeman, good evening. Good evening to Juliet Shakes, good evening. Annie Smith, good evening. Maxine Cummins, Michelle Lewis Wilson, Abina Sarkodi, good evening. Oh, me and my sinuses. Angela, 48349, good evening. Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson, Untainted Congo, good evening. Marlene Garden, Dara Daly, Rena Mary Messenger TV, Millicent Jones, Tony Tall, Wagwan Claudette, Silvera. Good evening to who else? Bros, good evening. Jacqueline Murray, good evening. Novelet Blade, good evening. Sasha Lewis, good evening. Cartelia Turner, Tash, good evening. Kirk Edwards, Sandra Benjamin, good evening and welcome. Devoid Davis, good evening. Elga Fletcher, Carla Hales, Darth White, good evening. Good evening, Rodney Reed, good evening and welcome. Claudette Robinson, good evening all. Thank you for being here with us on the People's Point of View. Dumb, cold, deaf politics. They don't have time to listen. They are not hearing. Not even on their phone in their hands, where everybody is talking, they're still not seeing or hearing. After all, they're quite some busy people. They haven't even got time, you see, to post gibberish on their Facebook and Instagram page. No, gibberish is left for my junior staff. I wonder if those in the government and the Jamaica Labour Party know that the buck stops with those at the top of a department or an organization. But then again, mind you say, when are the Labour then? Everything that we know as the norm get thrown out the window. Darrell, me not read nothing what you say. Me not read nothing what you say, Darrell. Me I look for the man you were talk about Terry Long. And me I go also try to buck shuffle my way through a constitutional expert. I would say a John Pro. See something you may never say. Tax Administration of Jamaica fight conspiracy. No, sir. Then Nigel, where you hide, so? What is Nigel and the whole of them hiding? That's everything we ask about. Them black way and say you can't see it. It covered by something or other or something another. What it is? We're going to find out, you know. We are going to find out because these are not the days when people just ask on a one time and tap. And when you're not responding at the first 30 days, if you respond, Rattigana was still sending another application when allowing of it mess up in a public more than once. But a former ambassador, I think he also worked during the Portia Simpson tenure, got into the debate regarding the blunder from the little criminal boy that will call himself gal swinging around the place. Because if you're following the swirl, of Terry Long Frocktail, then you would know that she is in Florida now, launching another pack of lies. Hold on, I need to adjust my camera. Launching a pack of lies. Hold on. I need to adjust my camera. Hang on. Launching the usual pack of lies is what Alonda Terrelong is swirling around the place doing at the moment. Violet Watson calling Humphreys, how do? How are you? And there's also, I'm going to go through 2 articles with you tonight. There's also another article. But before we go in at them, hold on. I need to speak to Aunt Jemima first. Good evening, Aunt Jemima. How are you? Good evening, Aunt Jemima. Who is Aunt Jemima? Have to be a black woman. Only black women who married or sleep with white men tend to attack us in the way Badenoch is. Who is Badenoch? Kemi, she is. Kemi Badenoch say, for telling us, stop call up the community blog or read the whole Kemi Badenoch, you know. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave Miss Badenoch to dear old Auntie Dr. Shola. And after Dr. Shola uses Miss Badenoch to wipe the floor, because I know Shola is going to use her, unless Dr. Shola is not Dr. Shola. And I'm sure Dr. Shola heard what Kemi Badenoch says. I now go tarry. I don't like to read coconuts propaganda. Kemi Badenoch, a black African woman, says we're married to white man because that is important. Because when they're married to white man, they have to speak the abuser's language. Miss Badenoch says, hey, you must have seen it on screen there. Now, Miss Badenoch is the minister of whatsoever in London. But I'm not going to read the whole of Miss Bedinark, Miss Coconut. I'm not going to read all of what Miss Coconut, Miss Bounty said, because it would be too much of an upsetting article to read tonight. So we're going to read what Miss Coconut says. Just a little bit of it. Then we will remind her after that. Because you see, the whole of them take with a fool, plating, and dolly house. The whole of them take with fool, plating, and dolly house, you know. That Miss Coconut, I come tell we how it go. I tell you, I come tell you how it go, you know. Miss Coconut said she was speaking at an economic conference in London. Miss Coconut says, UK wealth is not from white privilege, or colonialism. Somebody done sit down with Jamaican politicians. Somebody crooked and corrupt more than with Jamaican politicians. Them get up from under the white man, Kemi Bedinark. Get up from under the white system, Kemi Bedinark. I don't think I have to read the whole article now, but I'm going to read about 3-4 paragraphs. Bridle my tongue. It would have been wrong to attribute the UK wealth and economic success, can't even call the name, to its colonial history or racial privilege. I know Wayne Fabs that says so. It's not the Global TV Group saying it. It was said by a black government minister in Britain. A coconut only if you break it. The business and trade minister, that's what she is. I don't know, it's minister's blunder. How can I read without quarreling? Is it possible when you have these type of cantankerous writings or these cantankerous utterance where everybody want draw with in a barnyard with them? It would be wrong to attribute the wealth, the UK wealth and economic success to its colonial history and racial pride. The business and trade minister, Kemi Bedinark, has told the audience in the city, addressing the financial services booth at the City UK International Conference in London. The business secretary said the UK past exploitation and oppression of other countries and group of people could not sufficiently, she says, could not sufficiently explain the country's economic direction. Bedinark says, it worries me when I hear people talk about wealth and success in the UK as being down to colonialism, imperialism, or white privilege, or whatever, says Miss Bedinark. Instead, she said, the glorious revolution of 1688, which led to the development of the UK Constitution and solidify the role of Parliament, should be credited for providing the kind of economic certainty and pave the way for the Industrial Revolution, she said. Kemi Badenoch, a Black woman, is saying, it hurts me. Is it you it hurt, Kenny Badenoch? Or are your white husband it hurt and you have to oppress we and come out here and tell we say when we speak about our plight? Little girl, get up from under the white man. Because someone will get up and run around the world, sleep with white people for things said, on arrive in a position and on a people. So we over here, so one of the talk to and we feel listen to no. Who you little whore? Because you feel to throw yourself under white man. You think to say you're going to draw the whole away under white man with you? Coconut. Abused wife. Because we're upon a black woman. We have white woman that walk and kiss on our road. We have been kicked and battered indoors. When they're angry with one of them calling them the same niggas and bitch. The black man, them do it too. But there's a pejorative connotation coming from them when doing it. So we're not taking a kick and backs from white man, Kemi Badenoch. We're not roll over unbroken coconut. We're not roll over for white man. Don't draw away under white man with us, please. We want to stand on we own. We want to stand with we loud voice. We want to call out imperialism, capitalism, and racism and white privilege when we see. But we're going to leave it to Dr. Shola. You know. Dr. Shola, I go grab you. Kemi Badenoch. Dr. Shola know better how to deal with you than I could deal with you. And I know this will not. By tomorrow, we are going to be able to bring on what Dr. Shola said about this mange. So if Britain, Kemi Badenoch, don't get the economic whatever are them riches out of slavery, them wealth, out of slavery, colonization, and the white privilege they impose upon the rest of the world. Come in, I'm going to read further than your bullshit, you know, little girl. Little girl, I'm going to read none of your bullshit. You alone are going to take the white man beating them. Don't jog into your beating with you. We get enough on the plantation, Miss Badenoch, Miss Bunty, Miss Coconut. We got enough of beating from the white man on the plantation. You not draw way back under the white man for help. We help take your beating, Kemi Badenoch. That's not how it's operated. So when you don't have to speak for appease on a white man, on a white mama law, take we out of it. We know our history. We know what we're talking about. We not for appease neither the slave master, we whip master, nor we bed master, nor we abusive master, Miss Coconut. I'm sure Africa and the Caribbean is enraged by your very utterance. Mileage in dunceness. Badenoch. But I hope a fish we have to fry tonight. So we're going to push log wood in a fire tonight because we have all heap of fish to fry. But yes, Kemi Badenoch. Take your beating. Take your beating, Miss Badenoch, for yourself alone. We get filled with fair share a whooping from the white man already. Don't jar we back in your beating and your abusive behavior. I come tell we say we don't fit talk. It hurt you when you talk, when we talk, say Britain get its wealth from slavery, colonization, and white privilege. All right, then, Miss Bedena, you stay from the glorious revolution. At the glorious revolution, come tell me how white people killing them one another, chopping off them one another neck over power. Chopping them one another neck off over power. Over which one of the royal house of the United Kingdom rules the entire kingdom. And that you say give this economic power and prowess to Britain, because in 1688 they were chopping off each other's head. They were the usual unhinged barbarian of those days, because if you understand the history of Europe, Europe has never been in a stage where there isn't barbarity unleashed over Europe. It's just how Europe is. Europe is born out of bloodshed, murder, chaos, hunger, and eating each other. And that we know Europe for, Miss Bedena. Your romanticization of history, Miss Bedena, shock a lot of us. But we tonight are not going to get in your romanticism, because we have our own Jamaican romanticism to romanticize about Miss Bedena. We are not international dons like you. The black world, I'm sure, is very much ashamed when coconut like the Bedena opens their mouth. Little girl, go and go take your beating in silence. We get enough on the plantation. We used to white people whip, and we used to white people rage, Miss Bedena. We have been there before. Don't draw way back on the plantation with you. Make we turn out here and rebel, man. Make we talk brighter out of that. But Britain don't get them wealth. Where were you, Bedena? After Hitler threw them up against the wall of Europe, where were you when us from the Caribbean, along with others, have to come here, come teach them even how to bathe them skin? Tomorrow, me I go take the picture and come show the people them just cross the park for me there. So there is still a public bath house where the old are not coming bed in a go bathe in a one dirty pool one time a week and a wipe up for the rest of the week. A week come here, come teach, you know, come bed in a so you can bathe individually. And who not talk to? Then if they did rich and wealthy for 1866, why we have to come here and teach them to bathe, come bed in a, and to the date, them still not learning because them still do it once a week. So why are we here come jump on? So we can stop call up the people them names, say thieving, lying, and wickedness, and claim to fame make them rich. Go and read white writers, the white writers of history, Kemi Bedena. Go and read them book and stop come out to come tell me what your husband had mumble about at night time. Anyway. Let's get to the Jamaican drunkers, because you know, so we have our own drunkers as well. When it comes to junk, the Jamaican system is not short of junkerism. But an ambassador, a diplomat, a former diplomat, has now spoken in the debacle, as I rightly said, that picture that is causing such a stir was taken at the UK High Commission in London over the weekend. Let me try to call it like London, when Terry Long was here. So how him get the talk the same thing them how they don't go is beyond me. But yes, that photograph to the left with the former Prime Minister Portia Simpson and former Prime Minister PJ Patterson emojied out by the Jamaican flag. Them want to come tell we a junior staff, a people have access to conundrum. Do it. Like and share the live, please. Like and share the live. And we're also going to go into what the constitutional expert said with relation to parlor, not Dunn's parlor. We're going to sit up tomorrow morning. Or tomorrow morning, no? Diaspora. To hear what the court is going to say about Miss Llewellyn and her appointment and tenure. Kemi Bedinak really get on the wrong side of me tonight. Me wish me could have put the other them palm pause tonight and just that little girl all the way tonight. Because me don't like, because black women and black men, especially in London, them come out and utter these bullshit regularly. Where Massa and them cultism send them out. Come talk down to black people. Come correct black people. Come tell black people say the wrong narrative you're depend. I lie when I tell little girl who you. You're lucky say me I go over Jamaica tonight because I would kneel down upon you tonight. Everybody would have to come pull me off of you. Look, I wouldn't left nothing for Dr. Shola. But as I know Dr. Shola so well, I am going to leave you, Miss Bedinak, to Dr. Shola. After Dr. Shola uses it to wipe the floor, then we'll come pick you up and throw you a roadside like the piece of rubbish that you are, Miss Coconut. I come tell we. Say it hurt you. It hurt you here when we talk. Say, Britain get them wealth out of their colonial past and their racial privilege. Okay, tell we what it come out of them. Tell we what it come out of. Tell we the asset what this country did have. Tell we the natural resources where this country became rich out of little abused girl. Because that's someone who can't take the kick and the wolf in a public, in a private, come in a public, come try insult we the people, we the rebels. Who know? A former ambassador is saying what Terry Long did was a stupid act. And there's also another Gleaner article where may I go read it. Let me just email it to myself quickly because them have a way. Hold on there. Confirm that he is now a U.S. resident. Hey! Harry has now gotten his U.S. residency. Bangarang. And now the palace have news to walk and talk. The papers are going to be festive tomorrow. How Harry this, how hurry that and all sort. But let me quickly email this article to myself, the one with the strike by correctional service officers, forced adjournment of Klansman trial. Ladies and gentlemen, upon last night, if we talk about it, with regards to the doctor that has been arrested as a part of the Tesha Miller-led Klansman gang, doctor, what's it or rather you call him, should follow pursuit. Hey, so much when I look in the papers, Mona High School in St. Andrew has been closed today on Friday amid ongoing shooting. Today and Friday amid ongoing shooting and violence among students of several corporate area schools. Am I understanding this? Mona High School in St. Andrew has been closed today and Friday amid ongoing violence among students of several corporate area schools. This major incident was disclosed as a circular obtained by the news team this morning. It understood that the violence escalated following an incident on Monday in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. The police says reinforcement will be put in place in and around Halfway Tree Transport Center to monitor. Wonder if an extortion war or wagwan, but I don't know, Jamaica run red. And you all must see what's happening in the desert of Dubai and the Arab Emirates, where rainfall of 1 year fell in 24 hours. So it's an apocalyptic freak of nature. What they say happen in a ever so much 100 years. Just bear with me. I'm sending another article to myself. So when me done, me can just find it. Then I have to go search over war and have to find it. So you just give me a little measurement then. Make a send it so I know so I can just slip over. But yes, we're gonna go over to the farmer ambassador now, who is speaking on the issue. I could take down Bedenock. I mean, I want them to confuse me. Former ambassador says dishonoring of PMs in Terrelong post could raise his eyebrow amongst the diplomatic corps. And this is the former ambassador Curtis Ward. Former Jamaican ambassador, hold on, let me look, make sure I say okay. Former Jamaican ambassador says the diplomatic corps is likely to be disturbed by the dishonoring of the two former prime ministers in a controversial post that appeared on the Instagram page of Alando Terrelong, State Minister in the Foreign Ministry. Ambassador Curtis Ward, who served as a deputy permanent representative of Jamaica to the United Nations between 2000 and January and 2001 December, said the minister dishonored former Prime Minister Portia Simpson and PJ Patterson when his job was to represent the entire country of Jamaica. He said the country to former leader are hold stellar reputations internationally, and undoubtedly Terry Long action is likely to attract scrutiny. But apart from that, the local diplomatic corps in Kingston does monitor social media pages and the purveyors of Jamaican foreign policy. I think they would probably look at this as a stupid act, said Mr. Ward. He said he hoped the junior minister respond as truthful though outraged Jamaicans have said that it amounts to blame shifting. Late Tuesday night, a photo was posted of Terry Long in a conversation with journalist Nadine White at the Jamaican High Commission in London. In the background of the picture, two flag emoji were used to cover Simpson Miller and Patterson's face. Simpson Miller and Patterson are former leader of the opposition People's National Party. The face of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, former Prime Minister Edward Seaga, and Bruce Golding remain visible. Jamaican JLP country, Terry Long is suggested. Holness, the leader of the governing JLP party, who preceded as JLP leader by Golding and Seaga. The post was captioned, "Big things happening in Jamaica." Taking the message to the diaspora. See you in Kingston, June 16 to 19. Thing I did Montego Bay. The date is in reference to the Jamaican Diaspora Biannual Global Forum that connects persons of Jamaican descent living across the globe with the aim to strengthen linkage and build alliances that will fuel the island growth and development on the global stage. On Wednesday, Senator Kamina Johnson-Simmet, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, said during a post-cabinet briefing at Jamaica House that Terry Long was engaged in Europe in conferences, visual satellite launches, and would be in Miami today, it was actually today in your timing, yes, in your North American time. It's actually going on in Miami at the moment for their Florida launch. She, however, did not address the matter that has incensed many Jamaicans, including members of the People's National Party. Terry Long blamed one of his team member for the post that was made on his personal page. In an X post, which was accompanied by a photograph of him and Simpson Miller embracing, Terry Long said he was advised of the post made by one of his team members with access to his social media page. He said that the posts were not in keeping with his style. Terry Long said the team member was instructed to remove the post, which had been up for hours, immediately. I have since removed him from access to all my social media. When I look about a finger, Terry Long. The stories posted or regretted, and as stated, do not reflect my approach over the years, the state minister said. But let me remind you something, Terry Long. Even if it was done by your staff, the buck stop with you. There ought to be a protocol where anything you go publish. When me run partner job, me couldn't publish anything on the page written without sending it to Andre Stevens to me I go publish XYZ. So for you, Orlando Terry Long, we run a ministry. We represent Jamaicans at home and abroad, Terry Long. And you have just about any of the little boys in your office where you play with access to your social media account, which have to represent Terry Long as well as represent the government. And you're going to have just about any little boy with your account details. And you're expecting us to believe it. Follow the rules. The buck stop with you. So even if one of the little boy in your office do it Terry Long, the buck stop with Terry Long. Would you like to resign for such a blunder? That them blunder that wouldn't cast in England, you would get drugged by the media until you have to resign. I think we find that junior ministers do make silly mistakes from time to time. I can only hope that Terry Long learned from this. I thought it a little bit mystifying that a junior minister is so busy that he allows member of staff access to his personal social media platform, said Mr. Ward. He said better care must be taken in managing the pages. Raymond Price, the People's National Party constituency representative of St. Catherine East Central, where Terry Long is a member of parliament, off on Wednesday, criticized him for the post. Price argued that Terry Long's half-baked apology will not do away with the damage caused. This adds insult to injury. The officer in his office had made the initial post. Is true. The cursory use of the photo with the most honorable Portia Simpson is not acceptable statement of culpability, said Price. He continued, the state minister need to understand that his office operates at the highest level of diplomacy, so he should have had a system in place to ensure only acceptable posts are published. He said the viral message can only be described as inflammatory, unintentional, or otherwise, and nothing short of genuine contrition is required. Remorse and apology, Terry Long. That is what is required. So, Orlando Terry Long, in keeping, this is where you should really resign. Because in such a blunder where you have blatantly disregard those two politicians who set the tone for the economic success, the pretty road success with Andrew going around the country boasting about. Those were the two prime ministers of recent that really put those policies, sign off on those deals in order so you globalists, thank you for the research for these things from the brouhaha we're happening in Florida at the moment. I don't think I will have time to cue them now, but honestly, let me tell you no thing. I don't feel lose sleep over. Draw the sheet like a duppy time. Still more. Remember when we been come through the ranks? We always think say, those are we who afraid of duppy. We always think say when you draw a sheet over your head, you're more safer from duppy. But I can tell you tonight, Jamaica, draw on a sheet. There is nothing happening over there that we have not seen in Kingston at the ministry last week, that we have not seen in Europe and London over the weekend gone. Draw on a sheet, lay down comfortably, you're not missing anything. But before we rattle off into the Curtis Holness saga, let's listen once again to Professor PLO Lumumba. This is my favorite lawyer across the world, my favorite political or constitutional or religious speaker. It's one of the brightest men we have walking on this planet at the moment, Dr. PLO Lumumba.
Then I look at our leaders who, when they are seeking to serve us, when they are seeking our support, they are humility personified. They kiss babies. They go to the shebeen. They drink from dirty cups. They walk on foot. They smile with us. They take photos with everybody. They discard their security. They are humility personified. They speak the language that we want to hear. They do the things that they think we want to see them do. They delude us. They cheat us. And somehow we accept that they are leaders. But immediately they get what they want. Oh, they have a reverse Pauline conversion. If they were Paul, they go back to being Sauls. And we can no longer recognize them. When you ring them, their phones are picked by somebody called a PA, whose only claim to fame that he is rude beyond measure. When you go to the offices, they no longer want to see you. When they are driving in the streets, their sirens scare you. While I suspect that those who discovered the siren meant that it should be used for good purposes, for them it is a badge of honor, and they harass us in the streets. They acquire things which they have not worked for. They promise us things that they know they will never deliver. They want to be described as honorable even when they are horrible. These are the men that we have.
Those are the politicians that we have. People, the commission chamber where they're in have whole heap of empty seat. But tomorrow we are going to look into them. Thank you, globalists. Tomorrow we are going to look into them. Right, globalists, let me pause a bit before we go into the next article because a whole heap of honor they here arrived while I was reading. Pamela Akola, good evening and welcome. Globalists, it is the birthday of Pamela Akola as well as her daughter. They are age young this evening. I want you to take some time out, as you are all doing in the comments already, to wish Miss Akola and her daughter a happy, and prosperous birthday and many, many more return. Thank you very much, Pamela, for your support on global television. It's very much appreciated. You are a day dot member of the global television family. Thank you very much for your continuous support on the platform. Thanks for being a part of this experience, and we appreciate you and your support. Once again, to both you and your daughter, Pamela Okolo. Happy, happy birthday from Global Television and the entire Globalist family. Many of you has arrived while I was reading Robert Hardin, Rosemary Samuels, Marjorie Lloyd, Denise Hall, Sonia Barracks, Robert Adams, Winston Darkins, Ubuntu, Sonia Ellis, Tony Tall, Knight Hannigan, True Love, Joan Brown, Monica Wills, Yvonne Green, Norman Ferguson, Verna Adams, Joan Brown. But thank you all, Wilmston Daly. Thank you all for joining and your support. James, good evening, and welcome. I'm sure when I'm distracted, Blue Wave, John Pugh. When I'm distracted, my moderators will always, Lilith Foster, keep you welcome and keep you engaged while I am distracted. But thank you all very much. Jenny, JC, good evening. Sasha Lewis, I hope I'm not missing anybody, but if I do, forgive me. I know that my globalists always keep you welcome. Colleen Dormer, thank you all very much. While I now go back, Float M, to my reading of the Curtis Holness Raw. So let's go back over to Curtis Holness. Right. Let me bring it on screen. This, Don Mel, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining the family. Marcia Gale, good evening. Right, let me move this ad. Curtis Holness may have to resolve issue through mediation, says Barnett. Mr. Barnett is a constitutional expert. Dr. Lyde Barnett. is a constitutional expert. And Dr. Barnett is saying this debacle, Mildred, may Sonia Barrett have to go through internal mediation process to draw a line under what has been unfolding in our parliament of recent. So let's dive away into this article, because this article is of importance, because this is a constitutional expert speaking. So we're going to listen to what the expert is saying. Swine flu outbreak in lockup. I wonder if I kill them and kill off the prisoner, them too, they can't feed them, so them just sweat a swine flu outbreak. They see how much they can whip off and take off. But let's get to it. Constitutional expert Dr. Lyde Barnett has described as unfortunate and sad the so-called letter saga in which Speaker of the House of Representatives Juliet Holness released a missive on the 25th of March to lawmakers, reprimanding former clerk of the House, Valerie Curtis. The public rebuke was done after the former clerk allegedly failed to carry out the November 7th ruling of the Speaker in relation to the tabling of reports on public body from the Auditor General. What is happening now is unfortunate and sad for Jamaica, said Mr. Barnett. We have never seen anything like this as far as I can recall. Mr. Barnett, much older than me, I'm 50 this year, Mr. Barnett, much older than me. He's a constitutional expert. And he has never seen any such blunder in our political psyche before. So this is new, even to the experts. Even to the experts, this is a new territory. Well, let's continue. He suggested that the two parties may have to go the route of mediation to resolve the issue. In an exclusive interview with the Gleaner, the former clerk said she would accept nothing less than a retraction of the Speaker's letter that accused her of gross dereliction of duty and bringing Parliament into disrepute. Ms. Curtis dismissed accusation that she failed to carry out her duties, noting that she first returned the Financial Services Commission audit on the 8th of January before proceeding on her vacation the following day, which would have been the 9th of January. While she was on leave, the second audit report on tax administration of Jamaica was sent to Parliament on the 29th of January. The former clerk returned to the legislature on the 5th of February. Barnett said, because of the delicacy of the situation, only some sort of internal mediation would be probably constructive, because if you are going to have a public inquiry or anything like that, it is going to make matters worse, and people will not want to submit themselves to that. According to Mr. Barnett, people scarcely show respect for each other in Jamaica, noting that everything is intensely political, personal, and vindictive. Isn't that what is playing out in our parliament that really led us to here, though? We seem to be following the American example. Hang on there. We seem, he said, to be following the Americans' example. I'm going to try send a little clip to my studio. Bear with me there. I just want to send a little clip to my studio so I may get to bring it to you before we finish. Bear with. Bear with. Bear with. Right, let's get back to the conundrum. Senator President Tom Tavares Finson yesterday said that Bloody Hands won, said that there was no lingering animosity between the head of the upper and lower house and the parliament and the retired clerk. He noted that the clerk report to the Speaker and President of the Senate. The clerk was reprimanded by the Speaker in relation to a matter that the Speaker was of the view warranted such a reprimand. And it is important to point out, because a person works with an organization for over 30 years does not mean that they are beyond reproach if there is an infraction. Tavares Finson declared Curtis worked with Parliament for 28 years and 6 months. However, Barnett contended that action should not be taken against any employee without due process being served. In any situation, whether you are a civil servant, a private employee, or occupy a special position, or we would call them offices, the person who supervises you, whether employer or superior officer, cannot reprimand you without properly adopting fair standard and procedure, said Dr. Barnett. Mr. Barnett reasoned that a reprimand is a form of punishment, and as such, proper procedure must be followed before such a reprimand is carried out. You have to tell the person what the complaint is and give them a chance to respond formally. It must be a rational decision. A rational decision means there must be a reason that you can explain to the person, to the public, upon which you have arrived at that decision. There must be a rationale to the decision. You can't just push up your hand in the air, pluck down a reason, whatever it may be, and make your decision on it. Your decision must have a rationale behind it. It must have a reasoning behind it, explaining, boo chap, how I arrive at this decision and why, not just why you arrive at how you arrive at it, but why, in your opinion, given law and facts, you have come to the right decision. Let's continue. I wish part we did there. Yes. It must be a rational decision. It's not a question of whether you can do as you want because you are the speaker or president, or because the person is not a civil servant. The basic principle that applies to any Jamaican citizen is that we are entitled to fairness and due process, insisted Mr. Barnett. While the clerk of the House report to the Speaker and the President, Curtis pointed out that it did not mean that that the presiding officer could take over the administrative role of the Parliament administrator. The former clerk said she received correspondence from the Speaker and the President after she returned from leave on the 5th of February, in which the presiding officer instructed that she should observe the temporary freeze on all recruitment activities, among other administrative directives. So necessarily, if the moment the woman returned to work, them limit her access as to the power and responsibility she used to carry out. The retired clerk said she did not receive any directive from the Ministry of Finance and Public Service in recent times before her retirement that Parliament should put on hold recruitment of staff. Curtis, however, said that the clerk report to the Speaker on procedural and other matters that occur during the sitting of the House, but not to seek guidance and administrative matters. She stressed that any instruction regarding a freeze on hiring should come from the government and not from Juliet or Tom. None of them don't know what they do. The gleaner understands rather that there is a severe deficiency in the number of Hansard writers in Parliament. That are them people you see the touch specialist, touch typing. We have to capture every spoken word at the person who's at the dispatch box. At present, there are 5 Hansard writers, which is about half the official complemented. So, Parliament need about 10 Hansard writers. While there are 2 positions at the establishment for Parliamentary Legal Counsel, only 1 position is filled at this time. Senior Accounts Payable Officers, position that has been vacant for more than 6 months. The government state news agency, the Jamaica Information Service, say the job of the Speaker is to see that other members keep within the rules of the House, that the rights of the opposition members are protected, and that every member gets a fair hearing. In Australia, a Commonwealth country, and what is explained here in relation to Australia is pretty much how it works in Britain also. In Australia, a Commonwealth country, the Speaker's principal duty is to uphold the dignity of the House and to protect the rights and privilege of the House and its members, not just Jamaica Labour Party members, all. The most visible aspect of the Speaker role in Australia involves presiding over debate in the House chamber, enforcing standing orders rules that have been adopted by the House and ensuring the orderly conduct of business, meaning the business of the people. That is the end of that article. Inner Circle, Merle Grahagan, good morning, good evening, rather. Miss McDuffie. But people, everybody are talking. As deaf as you see them be, everybody attack. All right, let's zoom in on the disciplinary. Juliet, it cannot stand. Andrew Holness, it cannot stand. If you were in the private sector, my God, lawyers, employment lawyers, industrial tribunal lawyers would be falling at Miss Curtis' feet to take this lawsuit, because it will be a lucrative one. Because I'm sure we've got you on 2 of the many lawsuits that we could wage against you in this. We certainly have you on the breach of trust and confidence. You have breached an employed term in the employment contract. You have breached an implied term in the employment contract. The disciplinary, Juliet Holness, is between Juliet, the HR team, and Miss Curtis. What Juliet Holness did was send a publication not only to the other 62 thieves. No, you have to take out. Yeah, the 62 thieves. PMP, them are thieves too. Them were thieves lesser than the JLP them. You send that letter to 62 thieves, and you also make sure the letter got to the media. Miss Curtis's argument that she heard of it while driving home or wherever, listening to the radio. Now, that's the first breach, the breach of the duty of trust and confidence. Because if Miss Curtis did go to road, go spread on an incompetent business in there, you could remove her under the guise of she has breached the duty of trust and confidence. So I am sure, as somebody who has legal knowledge, that Miss Curtis can take a successful lawsuit against you in the area of breach of the implied term of trust and confidence. But Ms. Curtis also has a bigger claim. The breach of the fair hearing rule, to have imposed a discipline on your employee without your employee knew that there was an issue, spoken to about that issue, a broader investigation done on the issue, a response from the accused before your rational, reasoned decision. That's the major part of the lawsuit. In Britain here, it would tantamount to breach of your Article 6, I believe, the right to fair hearing. All these are big money lawsuits. Clever lawyers can throw in other things such as age or gender discrimination into it. You just have to be an argumentative lawyer, which you can wrap a lot of these things together and put it in one package. Precious Alan, how you do? So I am quite certain, run one list, Wagwan, that at least two of Miss Curtis's lawsuits, two of the area where she can sue them on, she will successfully win those two areas because, is the holder, how you do? They have breached the fair hearing rules. It is evident. They have also breached the implied term of the duty of trust and confidence. It's an open breach and it's something where you have to go look, search for. Those two lawsuits, Miss Curtis, don't walk away empty-handed. Them hold you. Oh, other than the 1.5 million, where you're still owed because of the horrible payment system, liberate period, Wagwan, because of the horrible payment system in our parliament. There's a lot of money out there sitting for you, Miss Curtis. A part of the lawsuit, also, Miss Curtis, is to have the letter struck off. Have that disciplinary struck off your very clean 20-odd years worth of record in that institution. Take it to the court, Miss Curtis. There is money sitting down there waiting for you. I'm sure, Miss Curtis, given how an open wound that these two breaches are, sensible corporation, Miss Curtis, would want to settle before an open bat and ball lawsuit, which they will not win, which will be hugely, if they have a stomach, embarrassing for them. So in that case, Miss Curtis, they will want to settle very quick. Well, me don't know about them. The foreign one, them in a foreign, yeah, so. Right now, my employers are ready to settle with me. It's just about my price. Me not accept for them price what them offer. It's about my price. When the breach, Miss Curtis, it's so plain and open. There's money sitting down waiting for you, Miss Curtis. Let the government pocket bleed, Miss Curtis, for their blunder. Don't just walk away, so. Holy pa cruise money, Miss Curtis. Holy pa first class frequent flyer money, Miss Curtis. Hugh Wildman, good night. Can you please contact Miss Curtis, Mr. Wildman? Because we know you love for to lawsuit at the hidden them. Good night, Hugh Wildman. Will you contact Miss Curtis and let Miss Curtis knows Janet McIntosh? Sonia Barracks, how are you? And let Miss Curtis know, Mr. Wildman, that she is sitting in a gold mine. She's sitting on a retirement piece. She's sitting on her cruise money. She's sitting on her money of a tour of Africa. Either Isaac Buchanan or Hugh Wildman, please reach out to Miss Curtis is a lawyer. I have no doubt that Miss Curtis is fully aware of all these advice that I'm giving. But please, Miss Curtis, you can't just make them walk out with your cruise money, so ma'am. If you don't want it, take it and give to a vulnerable school. Take it and pay what they call, or what they call the people them Paulette Jones. What them call the people them, we call them special support. What they call them shadow, the embarrassing pejorative term. Them call them shadow in a Jamaica. But don't let the government walk away with your money, Miss Curtis. They have insulted you. They have disgraced you publicly. They have diminished your integrity weeks before you end on one of the most brilliant career. So, I'm sure, Robert Adams, I am sure Juliet is the one that carries out the disciplinary against her. If she can't sue Juliet, she's going to have to sue the presiding officers, which is end up Juliet and Tom, or she sue the head of the parliamentary administrator. But Juliet is the one who fired in employment law. We would say here, Juliet was the one who pulled the trigger. So yes, she can sue. She can sue the presiding officer. The presiding officer was the one who pulled the trigger against Miss Curtis. But don't let them run off. Don't let them run off with your retirement money, with your cruise money, Miss Curtis, with your first class money, or your money that you can donate to education or something. But don't let them run off with it, Winston Daly. Because wherever they make a blunder, they must pay. This blunder that the Speaker of the House has made, it is really in employment law, not a cheap blunder. Trust me. Breach of fair hearing, breach of the duty of trust and confidence, and possibly breaches of the discrimination law, whether be age, or sex. Paulette Jones, how are you? Don't make it go so, Miss Curtis. Don't make it go so. Money did it. Just like how Popcorn said, trouble did it. Money did it, Miss Curtis. Money did it. If they no want rich up, they let them make them go on. It's stronger for you in a court. Because by the time them get a court, Miss Curtis, them can show that their remorse or withdrawal was a remedy to the breach. Miss Curtis, don't let them walk away with your crew's money. Don't let them walk away with your crew's money, Miss Curtis. When people retire, they go on expensive gouge around the world. And now that the Speaker of the House has provided you that lucrative opportunity, Miss Curtis, you have 2 active lawsuits that will prevail. Let's listen to what the Boogery Center, the aquarium swimmers, are saying in Florida. I have not listened or watched this clip. I will learn what is done and said just with you as well, but we will share more of that nonsense tomorrow. But as you always know, Jeffrey Tavares will give an audience to these people. Me not spread too much of their lie. We only help propaganda a little bit, one little tiny bit of them lie. But me not tell the whole of it. So, one of my globalists just sent me this clip of the ongoing unfolding biannual Diaspora launch debacle that is happening in Florida as we speak. So just let's listen in and see what brutalities is going on here. Patricia Matthews, Wagwan, how you do?
Launch of the Southern USA 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference in the beautiful city of Miramar. To the Honorable Minister of State, Mr. Tarlon, to the Council General Jamaica here in Miami, Mr. Oliver Mayer, all elected officials, dignitaries, residents of the city of Miramar, visitors, and the members of the diaspora that are viewing us virtually.
I find it pretty low on my side. I only hope that you are able to hear.
Online, we bid you happy spirits, goodwill, and a great and amazing launch to the Diaspora Conference. I'm Miramar Mayor Wayne Messam, and on behalf of our 150,000 residents here in the city of Miramar, myself along with my colleagues on the Miramar Commission would like to not only welcome you here to the city of Miramar, but we also would like to extend the best greetings to the diaspora, to the Jamaican community that helps make South Florida a sweet little place outside of the island we love, Jamaica. In the city of Miramar, we are the only United States municipality that has an entire elected body who are either Jamaican born or of Jamaican heritage. And we represent not only the legacy of Jamaica, but we do that by representing a very diverse community that are not all Jamaican. We have residents from all life, many various countries, Jamaica, but have the capacity to represent a community that is not only diverse, but also loves the Jamaican culture. So on behalf of our community, we welcome you. Now, I see a few purple ties in the place for the right in the room. So, but don't worry to all of the KC boy. This mayor is not a JC old boy, although I have on a blue.
JC old boy. Are the JC old boy them are the thief, though? Roll with a 6 spin at them a JC old boy them, is it not? Or some affiliation to JC. But one of the thing you see clearly, it's glaring from these people in the diaspora, whether it's been North America, United Kingdom, and Europe. But it is plain to all of us that these people who are given the podium and positions are the Uncle Toms and the Aunt Jemimas. Those who doesn't have a mind of their own. Those unbroken coconuts. Those, half the time, these people who are given these positions of power, especially upon the high people, in a foreign, are the one that we are sleep with white people. Wanna notice it? Those who get certain position of power, Angela Robinson, especially in England, yeah, so, are the one them were asleep with white people picnic. Those are the ones they put in certain position, because those are the ones who will bend over backward to speak their language and spread their narrative. It is the reason why Kemi Badenoch, EM, how you do? Can't come tell we say. My white husband at home is annoyed when black people say Britain got its economic, its wealth out of racism, colonialization, and white privilege. My face is cloudy. Normally that happens when it's a signal. It's telling me connection is unstable. So when it goes like that, it's because of the internet signal. I don't know. At certain point, my internet signal will just drop or go slow, but I hope it picks up back quite rapidly. Can't see you very well. It is like this sometime. Just bear with us. It will come back up soon. Carlos Wagwan, you come when we're almost done. But it's important to watch from the start, because we dealt with 3 articles tonight. One on the UK side, yeah. We want little coconut were married to white man. I come tell we say it hurt her for hear when we talk say Britain got its wealth. Britain got its wealth out of SDY, colonialism and slavery and white privilege. Because she's married to a white man and the white man don't like when we say so. So she come tell we in Britain. Said, hurt her for here with talks. Britain got its economic wealth out of slavery and white privilege. Now, this is a black woman. We want to draw with underneath her white man with her. We want to draw with to come take the abusive kicks and slap with her. But no, Miss Badenoch, we're not going to do that. We are not going to do that, Miss Badenoch. We are going to stand resolutely Not just asking for an apology, but asking for reparations, in that we get back all our stolen books and tracts, Miss Bedenock. The same one them where your husband people them have in a museum still and money off, Miss Bedenock. Don't draw it hand down a white man, we don't know. We never tell them so we fall off a coconut tree. We never fall as dry coconut, Miss Bedenock. We're soldiers. We are soldiers in the army for liberation, independence, and freedom, Miss Bedenock. So when you drop off a coconut tree, settle where you drop. But don't roll downhill and try roll and buck up in a field with ankle or with hoof. Because we will kick you away. Tired of black politicians have to speak to appease their white wife or husband, their white in-laws, and their white friends and status quo of the system. And all of we are rolled overs and sellouts. It's not all of us, Miss Bedenock, that is as badly educated on history as you are. Or not all of us, Miss Bedenock, is willing to lie deliberately to our people in public in order to appease our white intertwined culture and family and in-laws. No, Miss Badenoch. Some of us, Lilith Lockerbie, we're just going to say it, Andrea, the way we see it. It is as simple as that. As simple as that, Miss Badenoch. So you trying to tell us that you cannot say those things about white people. White people economic prowess came from their glorious revolution. What happened in the glorious revolution, Miss Badenoch? All that was happening, Kemi. All that was happening, Kemi Badenoch, is brutal, crazy mindset white people were just killing themselves off over Europe, in England, in order to decide which of the royal household, my thing is freezing again, which of the royal household, this is the coconut on screen. Cousin Myrna, how are you here to make it just arrive so late? This is the coconut. The Ministry of something, or what, I think, of Business and Commerce, or something another. But as I say, Kemi Badenoch, don't draw we in to help you take your beating. A whole heap of black woman married to white man, I get kicked and boxed and thrown up against wall. But because I don't want it to make it look like a black man alone, violent, Miss Badenoch, when you take on a kick on a box in silence, don't draw it into the abuse with you. White men abuse towards women and humanity is well documented, Miss Badenoch. So to come out here and come bamboozle, we and tell we say, your husband don't like when we talk, say, everything Britain has is because them thief it or them get it out of murder and barbarity. How is it that that is not so, Miss Bedinock? Which school did you attend, Miss Bedinock, and which history book you read? Go and read, Miss Bedinock, even your white in-laws history book, Durant Clark, and see the graveness of their own history they tell you about. But you become wake up and look a solace from your beating and come out on a public platform, come make this utterance. What do you want us to do, Miss Bedinock? Put it in our purse and march to the bank with it? While your husband I left you with black eye, Miss Bedinock? Lady, suck up to your abuse. Unbroken coconut, half-baked bounty. Keep it to yourself. She the Debbie, she's the business secretary. She's the business secretary in the United Kingdom, yeah. One of the coconut, because them what you see, this is why you see these people drag Diane Abbott as hard as they could drag her. Because Diane Abbott was one of the coconut politicians. Diane Abbott was one of the coconut politicians. So them hold that woman and drag her all over the place. Let me tell you what the idiot be. She's the minister, business and trade minister. She's a business and trade secretary. So she was at an international conference in London. And she was telling, Dumbarton here was telling the audience, let me show enough to prove, because them love to say we walk and tell liar and story on them, and two, we know so we no liar than them. We only walk and carry the story where we hear them a tell. And that we do. We talk the story what we hear them with. But these were the few paragraphs I read earlier. It would be wrong to attribute, the headline is, Kemi Badenoch, UK wealth isn't from white privilege and colonialism. UK wealth, she said. Bear in mind, this coconut, before she dropped off a tree, wasn't aware of Jamaica, wasn't aware of the Caribbean, wasn't aware of the armada that took place across Africa. You see, I want to go loose panalica dirty girl here tonight, you see, because a whole heap of these harlots in London in position of power that is put there to upset black people and appease white people. These rejected harlots of the black community would think to say them arrive because one white man and draw them through mud and water. Don't make me start on your little girl. I told me tell you, say me and leave you for Dr. Shola tonight. Come, you know, Dr. Shola will color you up, you know. Because you know, Dr. Shola now make you get away with them open bullshit, yeah. So me I leave you to Dr. Shola, little girl. After Dr. Shola done with you, then we will draw you and choke on the banking so nobody else not step over you. But she's saying it would be wrong to attribute the UK's wealth and economic success to colonial history or racial privilege. The business trade minister, Kemi Badenoch, told an audience in the city, addressing the financial services boss. You hear who she addressed? The bosses of the financial services, Nigel Thiefing criminal friend, at the city's international conference in London. The business secretary said the UK past exploitation and oppression of other countries and group of people could not sufficiently, the coconut said, explain the country's economic direction. In a bullshit, you don't have to read further than that to get into a tantrum. That is what Aunt Jemima says. Aunt Jemima says, it worries me when I hear people talk about wealth and success in the UK as being down to colonialism and imperialism or white privilege or whatever they want to call it. Instead, she said, the glorious revolution of 1688, which led to the development of the UK Constitution. Nasty gal. Nasty gal at the Magna Carta 1215. Nasty gal, dunce gal at the Magna Carta 1215 led to Britain Constitution, not the Glorious Revolution. The Magna Carta existed way before dunce. All the way you see them take out of the glorious, what they put in place after the Glorious Revolution. The Glorious Revolution is what put one another's head. And war, bloodshed, and war. And that can be better than accept at the success for Britain economic trajectory. The wanton killing and murder and white people killing and eating themselves. And that Kemi Bedinak said. And I'm going to make it up. And I'm going to write satirical novel about it. Kemi Bedinak says it, not me. So don't come tearing on my face, Ava Bradford. Pay lines to it. Don't come tearing on my face. Like I mean, I walk and make it up. Ask Kemi. Careful, how are you? Ask Kemi. Kemi. Don't go on like Trisha them 14. How are you? Don't go on like me. I walk news. Kemi Bedinak says so, not me. So when I go talk about, say we say Kemi Bedinak say, but don't go say we and say. The African news, whole news here. We ain't say Kemi Bedinak say. But finally to you, Miss Bedinak, don't go into the abusive situation with you. We know you come from up on the hill, Miss Bedinak, with the white family. We come from upon the cane field and the corn field and the cotton field, Miss Bedinak. We like to strike matches when you, the host slave, Miss Bedinak, bed a spread, master bed, a bed over, Miss Bedinak, and master bed. We will still till nobody now look down Miss Bedinak. We strike matches in the cane field. This is the people's point of view on your program, on your channel, the Global Television Group. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Right around. I saw long with a chat. No, sir. I didn't know I was here. Almost 2 hours. 1 hour audience for us. How are you? 1 hour and 50 so minutes. No, sir. We get out of tonight. No, there, sir. Then heeding them. The heathen them gave us something to talk about. So we have to talk. We can make because we don't have a bullet pulpit and a bullet podium to speak on. We not go come here, come lecture to or talk down to black people. Who are you? Remind us again, who are you? Well, you still there, full-time wagwan, are you enjoying yourself? Be careful and make sure the driver them will drive you don't speed, because Jamaica driver have a way of speeding and going, like I said. Everything is about rating and show off. But be blessed and be careful and make sure you enjoy yourself. If I go listen, you have to go listen from top, because we look at 3 articles. We look at one that a former Ambassador Curtis Ward wrote in response to the blunder after the interview Terry Long had at the Jamaican High Commission in London. And when them post the picture, them use them emoji, albeit with the Jamaican flag, to out Porter Simpson and PJ Pattis. So a diplomat spoke, as well as a constitutional expert, Dr. Lyde Barnett, spoke on the Lettergate. Dr. Barnett spoke. Why I think it's freezing on me tonight. Dr. Barnett spoke on the Lettergate. My sister is freezing. Can you all see me? I don't know why my system is frozen. Remind folks. Yes, people, the New York protests. Within my things. But the New York protest people will be hello, my people. Sorry, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. My computer has crashed, so I have to jump in the stream from another device just to let you know what is happening. But thank you all very much for being here. And back to the protest. The protest will be on the 10th of May. That will be at the corner of 42nd Street. Let me put this on the screen. On the corner of 42nd Street. And that will take place from 9 a.m. in the morning to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. But we will continue to, I don't know what is happening to my computer, but we will continue to bring you all the updates in relation to that march. So I'm sure on my platform, Jamaican Carlos, Jeffrey Tavares, Mr. Rattigan, everybody will be talking about it on their show leading up to the 10th of February, of May rather. So we will always be reminding you of the information for that protest, as well as will be encouraging a lot of you to make sure you turn out and give your support. My system now, I'm going to get back on the computer for the rest of the night. But thank you all very much for being here on the Global TV this evening. Even though it look like them a try crash with system because they no want with it talk them business. We have whole heap of device and whole heap of ways of cutting and going around on us. So when on a crash one system, we just come back on another system. It's just how it's operate. But one thing we're not going to do is allow them to take away with vices. No, we are going to stand up vehemently against that. So thank you all very much for being here with us this evening. Join us back tomorrow where we will continue our conversation about the business of our country. Good night from Global Television. Thanks for your support.